I discovered my husband and sister together, and now. Sure, here's a simplified version of the story. I, a 40-year-old woman, have been married to my husband, who is 42, since I was 22 and he was 23. Our marriage has been great so far, and we have a 12-year-old daughter and a 14-year-old son together. But recently, I've been feeling strange because I think my husband might have feelings for my sister. To give some background, my sister, who is 43, has always disliked me. Even though she was our parents' favorite when we were growing up, she always seemed to have it out for me. Whenever I liked something, she would try to take it away from me. For example, when I was younger, I enjoyed playing soccer and was pretty good at it. But when my sister found out, she started playing too. Although she wasn't better than me, she somehow managed to get injured and blamed me for it. Our parents, who favored her, believed her and stopped me from playing soccer ever again. She also stole my first boyfriend and made my school life difficult by bullying me. But I never spoke up about it and mostly kept to myself. Now, let's simplify this. I started to suspect my husband had feelings for my sister when she called him right after her divorce, and he rushed to her side without hesitation, just like he always does whenever she needs him. 2 months ago, our daughter broke her arm, and both my husband and I took her to the hospital. When we got home, she asked for McDonald's, so I went to get it. But when I returned, I found my husband leaving with our crying daughter, who wanted him to stay. He said he was going to my sister because she wasn't feeling well. I was furious because our daughter had just been hurt, but he insisted his sister needed him more and left. I was so angry that I packed bags for me and the kids and went to stay with my aunt, who understood my sister's behavior. 2 days later, I had to go back home for work, and that's when I saw something shocking. My husband and sister were on the couch, caught in a compromising situation. They scrambled to get dressed when they saw me, and my husband tried to explain it away as a misunderstanding. I couldn't believe it. I yelled at him, asking how he could betray me like this. I told him I wanted a divorce and left. When I reached my aunt's place, I went to my room and couldn't stop crying. I felt lost and didn't know what to do. I confided in my aunt, and she became angry, telling our parents and other family members about what happened, despite my request for privacy. Part of me is relieved that she told them because I don't feel strong enough to do it myself. My husband and sister have been bombarding me with text messages, but I've been ignoring them. I'm dreading having to tell my kids about what's going on. I feel overwhelmed and don't know where to turn. What should I do? Update 1. I found myself torn between sadness and anger after discovering my husband's betrayal. Part of me wanted to forgive him, especially for the sake of our kids, but another part felt consumed by anger and desired revenge. For now, I've told my children that I'm feeling down because of work issues, a story they accepted, thankfully. I'm relieved I haven't had to explain the truth about their father yet. Something I didn't mention before is that my sister's divorce wasn't a surprise. She had been emotionally abusing her ex-husband for years, and it had recently escalated to physical abuse before he decided to leave her. She twisted the truth, claiming he was the abuser, but that's far from reality. I reached out to her ex-husband, who is genuinely a good person, despite his stunning looks. I felt sorry for him, but I also saw an opportunity for justice. We met in a public cafe and discussed her abusive behavior, along with her potential feelings for my husband. I shared what I witnessed between my husband and sister, and together, we decided to devise a plan for revenge. We decided to take action against my sister for her abusive behavior. We reported her to the police, despite initial skepticism from the officers. However, her ex-husband had evidence of her threats and a bruise she had left on him, which helped the police take the matter seriously. They assured us they would pursue the case and recommended getting legal representation before sending us home. Next, I took steps to protect myself and my assets. I withdrew all the money from our joint account and transferred it to my own. Since I own our house, I planned to evict my husband. With the guidance of a lawyer, I initiated the divorce process, preparing for what I knew would be a challenging journey. I was determined to break free from my husband, whom I now saw in a repulsive light. A few days later, I gathered the courage to sit down with my children and tell them the truth about their father's betrayal. My son was understandably angry, but my daughter found it hard to believe me, accusing me of lying. Despite her disbelief, I assured her that I wouldn't stand in the way of her relationship with her dad. Later that same day, I arrived home from work to an unexpected scene. My aunt had gathered both sets of parents, along with my husband and me, at her house. It turned out my aunt had finally reached her limit with my sister's behavior. She revealed to the entire family what I had witnessed between my husband and sister. Additionally, she disclosed my sister's repeated brushes with the law and how she had been bailed out of trouble by my aunt each time. My parents were really angry when they found out what my sister had done. They shouted at her, saying how disappointed they were, and my mom even slapped her. They said they never wanted to see her again. My husband's parents were also upset. They couldn't believe he would do something like that, especially because his mom had raised him alone before marrying his stepdad, who he called dad. When my daughter heard what her dad had done, she got really mad. She yelled at him and said she hated him, never wanting to see him again. Then she ran to her room at my aunt's house and slammed the door. My son looked disappointed and went after her. My husband begged me to forgive him, but I told him he had to leave within 2 days or I'd call the police. He cried and said he had nowhere to go, especially because his parents told him he couldn't come back to their house. I didn't care. I told him I wanted a divorce, and eventually he agreed and left with tears in his eyes. 2 days later, I took my kids back home. They hadn't been to school since everything happened, and they were really struggling, especially my daughter. I hugged them tight and promised we would get through this together. They cried until they fell asleep. I tucked them into bed and went downstairs, feeling overwhelmed. I couldn't let my kids see how hard it was for me. I had to stay strong for them. I was surprised when the doorbell rang, thinking it might be my ex-husband. But it turned out to be my sister's ex-husband, Thomas, who had come to visit. He sat me down and hugged me while I cried, feeling overwhelmed by everything. He stayed the night, and when I woke up, he had made breakfast for me and my kids. They seemed happy to have him around. Thomas asked the kids if they wanted to go somewhere special with him, and at first, they were unsure. I was going to tell him it was okay, but he persuaded them, and they finally agreed, rushing to get ready. I hugged Thomas tightly and thanked him. He hugged me back and told me to take all the time I needed. It was clear that he had always been close to my family, despite his history with my sister. When my kids went out with Thomas, I called my lawyer to discuss things before heading home. As I walked in, I was touched to see Thomas had ordered their favorite takeout, and my daughter was cuddled up beside him, looking comforted but still upset. I quietly joined them, taking off my shoes and jacket with a smile. My son hugged me tightly, and we spent the evening together. Later, I talked with my kids, and we all agreed it would be a good idea to start seeing a therapist. Thomas supported this decision, as he was seeing one too. My husband continued to bombard me with calls and texts, but I decided to block him. That's where things stand for now. I'll keep you updated if anything changes. My kids haven't spoken to their dad since, and I've also cut off contact with my parents. I also got tested for STDs, and thankfully, I'm clear. Thank you all for your love and support during this difficult time. Update 2, it's time for another update. Things are getting better for me, mainly thanks to Thomas. My daughter is really struggling. Sometimes she comes to me or Thomas in tears, expressing how much she despises her dad. Other times, she seeks comfort from him. I understand her pain, and it breaks my heart to see her suffer. She desperately wants our family back together, but I know that's not possible after everything that's happened. Occasionally, she has episodes where she seems disconnected from reality, and sometimes she slips up and calls Thomas dad. It's not a bad thing, but I could never see myself dating my sister's ex, no matter how awful she's been. As for my son, he's been keeping his feelings close. I've caught him crying quietly at night, and I always go in to comfort him. We talk, and I make sure to stay with him until he falls asleep. It's the only way I can truly understand how he's feeling, as he rarely opens up to me no matter how hard I try. Regarding my ex-husband, he completely cut ties with my sister and hasn't spoken to her since. He found a good-paying job, despite losing his previous one at his dad's company. He also moved into a nice house, which he had been saving up for, just in case I found out about him and my sister one day. I know all this because my daughter keeps me updated on his life. I don't pressure her to share, but she wants me to know what's going on. My son doesn't talk to his father and refuses to visit him. I'm not going to force him. My ex has been trying to reach out to me, sending flowers and gifts. I accept them because I don't want to waste things, and I still have feelings for him. It's hard to let go of those emotions. As for my sister, I've heard she's living in her car and working a low-paying job. I want to make it clear that if she ends up homeless, I'll help her. I can't stand the thought of her living on the streets, especially knowing how dangerous our town can be at night. Thomas has been an incredible support for all of us, and he's been perfect in every way. Another thing about Thomas is that he discovered he's bisexual and has started dating a guy named Logan. Logan has also been a huge help, and my kids adore them both. My daughter isn't as close to them as my son, but she's getting there. I've started taking care of myself more by working out and eating better. It's helping me feel better overall. I've met a guy while working out, and we've been spending a lot of time together. He brings back the same excitement I felt when I was dating my ex. I'm not saying I'm going to start dating him, but he makes me really happy. My kids don't know about him yet. That's all for now. I'll update if anything else happens. Thank you all so much for the love and support. It means everything to me, and I love you all dearly. And to all the ladies out there, remember, even if your partner cheats on you, it doesn't mean you have to let yourself go or feel down. Sometimes it's a sign that it's time for a positive change. Mini update, hey everyone! I recently posted an update and noticed two things got a lot of attention. 1. Me accepting gifts from my ex, and 2. Helping my sister in the future. Let me explain. Firstly, I don't throw away gifts from my ex because it feels wasteful. Thomas suggested I donate them to a women's shelter or orphanage, which I think is a great idea. My ex usually gives me flowers, teddy bears, or jewelry, which I won't use, so I'll be giving them away. As for helping my sister, I don't mean letting her stay with me. Instead, I might give her money because it's dangerous for women to be alone at night where I live. I'd only do this if my parents don't help her. I know she did something wrong, but I can't stand by and watch her get hurt. Edit. Don't worry, I'd never let that awful person near my kids. If anything, I'll ensure she stays away from them. She's caused enough trouble, and I don't want to bring more trauma to those around me. As for my ex, there's no chance of us getting back together, and I'll make sure he understands that clearly. Some people suggested my daughter might be telling him things, which I hope she is. I want him to see how much better we're doing without him. As for the money he saved up, I don't want it. I have a good job, and my kids always have what they need. We don't need his help or his money. That's all for now. I might update again later. Have a wonderful day, everyone, and thank you for your support. You don't know how much it means to me.